making $13 billion of profit with less than 200 people. That's outstanding, but that's also not healthy. It's not about planning 4 years or 8 years. It's about how do you plan for the next 50 years. The UAE is at the moment probably the most neutral place on the planet. You can sit with an Israeli and Palestine and an Ukrainian and a Russian guy together on the table and talk about the blockchain project.
Hey everybody, super excited to be back. Today I am here with Ralf. Ralf is OG in the Bitcoin space. Runs a venture studio in Inacta, and then also has a investment arm in Oasis in Dubai, but also an instrumental participant in Crypto Valley, right? In Zug. We're here in Switzerland, in Zurich right now. Thank you for coming and sharing your insights and your history. Maybe some background on you, Ralf. How did you get into crypto? How did you find your first Bitcoin? What was that journey like?
Absolutely. Thanks, Stefan, for having me. I'm originally from Austria. I have been a software developer, by the way. So the question, what do I do? I moved to Zug, Switzerland in 2005. Before the crypto craziness, I was still working as a IT consultant in digital transformation. In 2009, I found my own company together with my partner Marco Bumbacher in Zug, called Inacta. Inacta had nothing to do with Bitcoin, so of course not. The early pioneers in Zug that have been Johann Gevers, Niklas Nikolaisen, with Bitcoin Swiss, Monetas, and then others coming up. And then I think the big move for Zug was when the Ethereum Foundation set up there, when Vitalik came there, when Michael Lise came there, and all the guys around that. And we have been there. We opened up our business center in Zug in 2014, the Lakeside Business Center. Then we recognized, hey, here are some new guys talking about blockchain. Let's create the Lakeside Crypto Lab. And we took a part of the building and said, this is only dedicated for crypto guys. And we had 20, 30 companies very fast there at the end of the day. So we have been kind of a co-working space for blockchain companies. And a little bit later, we co-founded the Crypto Valley Labs, Crypto Valley Venture Capital, the Crypto Valley Association. So all the things about the Crypto Valley, basically.
Wow. And then when you first set it up, how did you, was it more focused on Bitcoin or builders around Ethereum? Was it mining? Where was sort of the first initial sort of set of companies coming from?
Look, the first discussions have been around Bitcoin, of course. But the companies coming there was from the broader way than 2015, 2016. We had then a lot of different companies coming here. This was before the ICO raise. Then I'm thinking quickly about the names of the companies. There was a custodian out of the US, which was one of the first ones coming over. Olga Feldmeier was representing this custodian, and this was quite interesting. Xapo, of course. Xapo was one of the first ones coming over, and that was interesting because we saw Switzerland gaining momentum. Then the Bancor guys came, of course, the Cardano Foundation, Charles Hoskinson, Tezos Foundation, and all the things. And I believe still that Switzerland is the perfect ground for this layer one blockchains. And this is a generational project to set up a real layer one. It's not about planning 4 years or 8 years. It's about how do you plan the setup of a new infrastructure, the financing of a new infrastructure, the ecosystem of a new infrastructure for the next 50 years, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think, we were talking about it earlier, right? So the US has gone in 180 degrees in the last 30 days, right? From a very anti-crypto administration to now an administration that wants to actually bring it to the US. And how do you think Zug and the Crypto Valley is going to sort of transform and adapt to this new environment and highlight the unique aspects of it? And what are those unique aspects to it?
Look, I'm sure the US will attract a lot of entrepreneurs back now with this strategy. And I never could even imagine a strategy so hard like it is right now. Right? I mean, the Trump meme coin, let's not judge on that.
Well, what about Melania? We had like Barron.
Really, what was before forbidden got normal. Yeah. It's just crazy. And then we talked about the crypto reserve this weekend. Yeah. I fully understand to have Bitcoin in a reserve, but having other cryptocurrencies, for me, there's only one new asset class, and everything else is kind of venture capital or private equity around these ecosystems. Yeah. It's not that. I mean, Solana, Cardano, Ripple, you name it. I'm not against it, absolutely, but I don't think it's an asset class where a reserve should be in. Yeah. It's when a sovereign wealth fund is investing into it as they would invest into a tech company like Apple or Meta or whatever, I'm fine with that. Yeah. But it's not an asset class for a reserve, in my personal opinion. Yeah.
So you think there's sort of maybe convoluting the direction of a sovereign wealth fund, which is part of another, I think there's an executive order or something to look into and do research around a sovereign wealth fund, and then the Bitcoin strategic reserve or the crypto strategic reserve, and they're sort of convoluting the two together maybe.
I think it's mixed up now.
Mixed up, and
I believe it's not the right way to do it, but this is only my personal opinion at the end of the day. I mean, we are holding by ourselves Bitcoin in our pension fund since more than 2 years, officially in Switzerland. And we changed over to Bitcoin ETFs at the end of the day because this is the cheapest way to hold Bitcoin. You can't hold Bitcoin for 20 basis points without a risk at the end of the day, or with that low risk profile. And I fully believe in that. But investing in the other coins is really a venture capital thing and not a reserve, in my personal opinion.
So I think that's a unique point that I didn't know, and I think is really interesting that you highlighted, that Switzerland actually has more, to your point earlier, longevity embedded in crypto assets, right? So Bitcoin is now a part of the individual's pension contributions. They can choose to have Bitcoin as a part of their pension contributions?
It's a little bit more complicated. Okay. It's a little bit more complicated. There's a concept of having, the German word is called Sammelstiftung. Okay. I don't know the exact English word for
collective sort of trust.
Yeah, collective trust, where you as a company can choose about the asset allocation.
Okay.
And in this part, there is up to 25% alternative assets.
Okay.
And up in this 25%, you can have private equity, you can have venture capital, and you can also allocate digital assets if it's a financial product. So you make it bankable and then you hold it there at the end of the day. And we choose that solution. We went away from a big insurance company to manage it with a smaller collective trust, and there we choose by ourselves that we want to have Bitcoin in it. And it's amazing, but it's also a small issue I didn't think through at the beginning, and that's rebalancing. When we reach the 10%, you need to sell Bitcoin, and that's probably something you don't want to do if you fully believe in it. And last year, I think we reached 28% of the allocation. And then, of course, we had to rebalance and sell some of the Bitcoin.
And then you buy other assets to rebalance the portfolio, right?
Absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's really innovative, right? I mean, those are elements that I think should be highlighted in terms of, again, making Switzerland a attractive marketplace. There was another thing that I read, that there was a proposal or a referendum or an initiative to actually try and have Bitcoin as a strategic reserve in Switzerland as well, right? On the balance sheet, instead of a gold reserve, you'd add Bitcoin to it.
Look, there are attempts going on since quite a few years. I'm, for example, now a shareholder of the Swiss National Bank.
A shareholder in the Swiss National Bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
How did you become that?
Why? Because some friends said, look, when we have 28 shareholders, I think it's 28 shareholders of the Swiss National Bank, we are allowed to put a point on the General Assembly on the agenda of the Swiss National Bank. And I think it was now 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and we got the point of having Bitcoin on the balance sheet of the Swiss National Bank at this time on the agenda. But unfortunately, we didn't get through, and now there's the referendum trying a similar thing, what you're mentioning. And with the referendum, you need 100,000 signatures to get there. Yeah. To be honest, I'm not super happy about that referendum. No? Okay. Because we might get to this 100,000 signatures. But then there's still the opportunity to say no. And then it's something like a real definitely no. And putting pressure on someone to put this on the reserve is not a good idea. When we started in our pension fund with Bitcoin, I think the Bitcoin price in January 2 years ago was 64,000. Okay. And then it went down to 18,000. So when you are then in this phase, which we as used to the market know, but the public wouldn't be amused about a process like this. And then we had the luck to buy back at 18,000, and it went up to 102,000. You know, it's a very volatile thing, and the decision should not be forced. This could be negative for the community at the end of the day.
So public is nervous about the volatility, and we know Bitcoin is volatile. And at the same time, if they say no because of that fear of volatility, and they do have exposure to the ability to say no, that will have a broader implications across the board for Bitcoin as a part of the being on the balance sheet then.
Absolutely. Look, I think the Swiss National Bank is already invested now in MicroStrategy. Okay. Not as a strategy, but because of they're invested in the top companies at the end of the day for market cap, and so there's already a kind of Bitcoin exposure. But I think the Bitcoin exposure of MicroStrategy is another interesting topic. But you know, I don't like this to enforce something through that process.
I think you mentioned earlier, right, that Switzerland's always been an attractive spot for a lot of crypto foundations. You mentioned all of them earlier. They set up here. They attracted talent for being here. And now, obviously, you know, the US is known for its tech talent. It always sucks up a lot of technology talent into the US. So all the AI minds, the crypto minds, they've moved to the US and then they left again. And now they're trying to suck them all back in. What do you think Switzerland can do to attract that talent to Switzerland? So we have builders like yourselves that when you came to Switzerland, you created and builded and created new environments that would attract new talent to build and they set up here. And you've got a venture studio here or an incubator. How do you see that evolving, and what can we do to attract talent to Switzerland and build this hub out and maintain it?
Look, Switzerland has certain limitations on how many people we can attract here. Switzerland is not famous for high growth rate and size. But Switzerland is famous for having headquarters of companies here with probably the most important stuff, with a part of the research and development team, with a part of the top management team, 20, 30, 40, probably 100, 200 people. And when we are able to maintain this level of having the top people of the Cardano Foundation, the top people of the Solana Foundation, the top people of the Web3 Foundation, or Definity is very close. They have, I think, 120 or 140 people in Zurich. So they are one of the strongest teams. And what Switzerland always helped in that area is the very good universities.
For sure.
ETH, University of Zurich, EPFL, University of Basel, all the applied science universities. I think Switzerland is worldwide #1 in adding blockchain and crypto to the university programs. I don't know if you heard about it, but the University of Lucerne and the Hochschule Luzern, so the University for Applied Sciences Lucerne, together with the canton of Zug, are building a new blockchain-focused university. And the canton of Zug is investing 40 million Swiss francs into that project. So that's for Switzerland sizes a lot of money. So it's not Harvard, it's not Stanford, but 40 million in a dedicated university set up in Zug with all the surroundings, that's outstanding. And why is Zurich so famous for having Google here, having Facebook/Meta here, having Amazon here? Because of the good universities. The really good tech talent is here. And I just learned last week that NVIDIA has 200 plus people in research in Zurich.
Wow.
200 plus in mainly AI research. I had no clue. No? And this is also because of the universities being here. No?
I think that, to be honest, fuck Harvard, fuck Stanford, nobody likes them anyway nowadays, right? And so actually what Switzerland has created is the top universe. I mean, ETH is known around the world, EFPL, as you mentioned as well, and all these other universities that you talked about has elevated the whole level playing field and created a very attractive talent pool for, interesting. I didn't actually... Yeah, I mean, you think of that, and now that you highlight it, it becomes really, very clear that is a real advantage.
That's the key. I mean, without the talent, you can't grow like this. And again, we helped to set up Binance in the UAE, in the DMCC Crypto Center, and Binance in the UAE, they hired in the first 12 months 700 people. Imagine this in Switzerland. First of all, we never will have Binance onboarded here as a fully regulated entity. It was not at this time, it was a tech entity in the UAE. Second, hiring 700 people. The talent pool of Switzerland is Switzerland plus Europe. Getting people from outside of Europe is quite difficult. So you need the special process to get people in if they are coming from outside of Europe. Then probably you get the people, probably you get an office which is big enough, but have you tried to get housing for the people? For the families, 700 people plus families, best case all in Zug, please. There's no way to do that. So it's just not built to scale. And that's one of the reasons why I love the combination of Switzerland and the Middle East. Because when I came to Dubai the first time, 1998, I saw those guys, they want to double the size all 10 years. And they want to grow. When we have in Switzerland 100,000 people more a year, we talk about, let's slow it down. Constraints. It's getting tight here. And in fact, it's not getting tight on a global level, but it's getting uncomfortable for some people. And so the combination of different areas with high growth and different areas with stability and the opportunity to plan long time, like in Switzerland. I mean, for entrepreneurs, in my opinion, one of the most important things is stability. I want to be able to plan. I want to understand what is the tax structure the next 10 years? What is the regulation the next 10 years? How can I work in that area? I don't want to run 4 years like this, 4 years like this. I mean, this is a big opportunity now for the US. The US will take this opportunity. But I still think in 2 areas we are the #1 in the world in Switzerland. And the one area is being the digital custodian for the world. 34 banks in Switzerland are offering digital asset custody, including brokerage. Of course, there are service providers behind, but this is huge. And that's more than the rest of the world, most likely. I didn't count, but I don't believe that more banks in the rest of the world are supporting digital assets. That will grow super fast now in the US and in Europe with MiCA. And the second one is just being the trustworthy, stable, neutral home base for layer one blockchains. I mean, when the Ethereum guys did their due diligence and they evaluated a lot of different locations, then they choose Switzerland for being neutral, open to innovation. And, you know, when you do something wrong here, then probably you will get a message, hey, we don't like how you do it, please change it in the next year. When you did something wrong in the US, hey, we recognized you did something wrong in 2016, you're going to be fined and jailed. That was the story. So, you know, it's about this stability which we're having here. And this is for custody very important, for long-term storage of assets. Also, custody. Do you want to have your custody in China, in the US, in South America, in Canada? I mean, we are really known for stability here in Switzerland.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know if the gold is actually in Fort Knox or not, right? So it's like that's the custody that you're sort of worrying about, and I think that's a good point. And I think as an entrepreneur myself, right, sort of coming to Switzerland, you know the framework. I've already got all these worries about launching a business, people, new business tech, the timelines, roadmaps, marketing, distribution, and then I got to worry about regulatory burdens and all of that on top of it. You don't want to have to worry about that. So every little element that I can take out of the equation allows you to then build and focus on other things more, which is a great asset, and I think that definitely needs to highlight. The space thing, I live very close to Google, and they had a big problem with spacing and location, sort of, what do you call it, home, you know, finding homes for their team members and their staff. And so how does that relate to, you know, UAE? You're seeing a lot of, I think 11,000 millionaires last year left London to go to the UAE, attracting a lot of talent, a lot of money, and generally those that have millions in the UK are entrepreneurs themselves. And you're seeing a lot of crypto talent in the UAE. How do you see that? You know, what's your experience in the UAE? And yeah, that's interesting to see the development that's been going on there.
Look, I'm a big fan of numbers. When we look into the crypto valley, the numbers of companies working in the blockchain space in Switzerland is around 1,200 right now.
Okay.
The Crypto Valley Labs did the statistics and bring out the reports every year. And it came up from 2013, the first 5 companies probably, to today 1,200 companies. In 2016, we started to look closer to the Dubai blockchain ecosystem. And it was a very small community there. And in 2019, 2020, we started to count the companies. And now we have 2,400 companies in the UAE. So already double the size of Switzerland. I mean, this is the opportunity for the UAE is the world. Everyone can move there. I mean, it doesn't matter from where you are. The UAE is at the moment probably the most neutral place on the planet. And I like that fact. You can sit with an Israeli and Palestine and Ukrainian and the Russian guy together on the table and talk about the blockchain project. No problem. And one example, when Goldman Sachs closed down the Moscow office, they went to the UAE. Why? It's the easiest way to move people there. So when we hire people from South America or from Canada, we can fly them into the UAE, give them tomorrow a working permit and pay for the visa, and then we can try 6 months to get a visa for Switzerland. Because this is the time with good connections and with all the things you have to do, you probably get a visa for someone working in Switzerland outside of the European Union. And that's because then you have to bring up the reasons why you don't find someone in Switzerland, why you don't find someone outside of the European Union, and this is a process which takes time,
Yeah.
and that limits growth here. And in the UAE, as I said, I think in 1998 there have been probably 800,000 people in Dubai, and now it's 3.4 million.
Oh, 3.4 million in Dubai itself.
In Dubai, and 9 million
Yeah.
the UAE. I am not sure if these are the actual numbers, but you
That's
see
the
the growth.
ballpark. Yeah, you see the growth.
You see the growth.
Yeah.
And what they are planning now, they try to make out of Dubai, out of one city, 5 cities. I think that's the 20 years plan of Dubai, to create 5 cities, one tourist city, one tech city, one finance city. And what are they trying to do? They try to solve the traffic jam or the logistic problem,
Yeah.
basically. And in these cities, they want to bring together living and working
Yeah.
closer. And I think every of these cities, again, has the potential to be 3 million. So when you build 5 cities with 3 million people, it can go up to 15 million.
15 million people.
And the space is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are super interesting
that's
challenges. Energy,
Yeah.
food logistics, food security. I mean, the food production of the UAE for themselves, I don't know, it's around 5%, 4% or so.
Yeah.
So they need to import all, and you get the best quality of food in the world.
Yeah.
You get everything,
Yeah.
whatever you want. The best meat from Japan, the best cheese from Italy, you name it, because the logistics is just world class.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah, no, they've done a phenomenal job. I mean, we were just down there, I think a couple of months ago, right? And just how they've evolved. And I used to go back there earlier, and I did a lot of work with Uradu in the beginning, in my mobile career days. And just how that's evolved. I mean, those were I think they just completed the Yas racing track in Abu Dhabi. And that was just, I remember going and visiting that. There was nothing else there but the racetrack. And now it's like a huge city. It's just really evolved significantly. I mean, obviously they have the space, which allows them to attract the talent. And one of the things, though, that I really found, they've leveraged the regulatory uncertainty around the world and embraced the crypto sort of ethos, right? And sort of, at least from a regulatory standpoint and from an innovation standpoint and as an asset class. So all those 3 elements were really embraced by the local government and attracting a lot of talent. How do you think that's happening in the AI space as well? I mean, you're doing a lot in the AI as well. You've mentioned that you think that that's a really big opportunity. How do you think the Middle East is going to embrace AI, especially given the need for university? You know, it's a lot more, what's the word? I mean, I want to say it's a lot more intellectual, it's a lot more science-based, it's a lot more mathematically oriented versus cryptography. How do you see that evolving?
Probably starting with what the UAE is embracing. First of all, the UAE is embracing innovation. In every area.
Everything, right?
Everything. So innovation, they are on the forefront. If it's about 3D printing, vertical farming, you name it. In every area. I mean, look at things like the palm. I love this project. The Excel application of the blockchain space has been the stable coins in the last few years. And the result was the tremendous success of Tether
right?
last year. Definitely. I mean, making $13 billion of profit with less than 200 people. That's outstanding, but that's also not healthy at the end of the day. So look, if we only generate a very...
So what's not healthy about that? I mean, isn't that amazing? Gross margin? I mean, the margins that you generate?
But
net margins even.
Yeah, that's outstanding. But our industry talked about decentralizing financial opportunities.
Okay, so it's too centralized. It's,
for me, this
too
is
concentrated.
I love what the Tether guys did, and I love also what Binance did. But this domination of the market of 2 big companies, that's the opposite we wanted to reach. We wanted to democratize the financial markets. We wanted to give more people the opportunity to do different things. And when we create this market dominators in such a short period, that's the wrong direction, probably.
So why do you think, we have, literally USDT and USDC, and then we've had FDUSD, thanks to Binance now, they've really come up. Why do you think the decentralized stablecoin versions, like the DAI, the MakerDAOs, why have they not really found foothold, or what stopped them from growing?
Look, in general, I think DeFi is not there yet.
Okay.
But DeFi is still in the early stage.
Okay.
And I personally hope that we will get away from the centralized topics, more into these decentralized topics. And when I see where the people are spending time, like CSET and others, they are all thinking about this decentralized world. But now we have this super fast growth in the centralized world, centralized exchanges, etc. And when we talk about Tether and stablecoins, it would be great if some of the yield gets back to the users at the end of the day. Which is sort of Arthur Hayes' sort of strategy with Athena, right? We are seeing a lot of stable coins now coming up with the
yield bearing.
With that getting
Yuan too, by the way.
I really like this concept. This is again about democratizing access to capital. But even more, you ask me what is exciting. I think when we get outside of the financial sector and we've come into other areas, then it's getting exciting. And I believe now the infrastructure is ready. The scalability is there. Now we need to see the applications. And the convergence of AI and blockchain. Because I personally believe AI is helping us to make decisions better and faster. We have a lot of data, we need to digest the data, and we need to make decisions based on it. And AI is the perfect tool for that. And then we need to transact on the basis of this information and this decision. And this is the blockchain space. So automating transactions at the end of the day. And I'm excited to bring these two technologies to big corporates at the end of the day. That's where we are focusing on. We try to find B2B startups delivering value in that area and then helping big corporates to adopt the technologies. Because a good part of the things can be done through startups. But if we really want to change the economy, we need to get to the big ones. We need to have the Johnson & Johnsons, the Glencores, all the Roche, Novartis, and so on, the big corporates to use this blockchain technology every day. So I started off launching TRUFlation. After Bitcoin.com, running Bitcoin.com, I saw a huge opportunity in bringing data, economic and financial data on the blockchain and using that as a decentralized ledger. One of the difficulties we had as we were scaling up and adding more and more data sets was composability and verification of data. Right? You're taking off-chain real-world assets and trying to put that on the blockchain. So it's not natively coming up through the blockchain where it's transparent, but you have to have it verified from off-chain and then ultimately enable the visibility. And so that's where AI has come in really handy, where we actually now can actually verify the data and compose that data thanks to AI, going from 6 weeks to a new data sets down to nearly 2 days, right? Where we can actually have it immediately plug-inable and then composable into other, and then visible on an Explorer. So now that's all across the blockchain. But the big application has been trading. So it ultimately, no matter what you do, everybody wants to trade off that, right? But and trading, I suppose, comes in multiple different facets. It can be trading real estate. I need to know where the provenance is. When was it last validated? What is the value of that real estate? So I can find all of those elements out on the blockchain and have verification across the blockchain because it's transparent. So one of the first projects we supported outside of this financial markets was EtherRisk. Parametric insurance. Yeah, it was an amazing project, by the way. And the most important thing was, where do we get the data? Which parameters are already there? And the first data points we had was flight delay at the end of the day. And already there was flight delay insurance. It was interesting because people started to use this not for flight delay insurance, they started to use it for gambling.
Yeah, exactly.
You can
exactly.
bet against, we know they are always delayed, let's buy in there. And what problem we had, we even didn't know if someone who used this insurance had the flight ticket.
Yeah.
So the flight ticket data was not available at the end of the day. So if you use EasyRisk without having the flight ticket for a certain flight, it's not an insurance, it's gambling. Quite simple. And then this whole topic of parametric insurance is super interesting, but it works only out if you have the parameters, if you have the data, weather data, values of houses, of whatever it is, of cars and all these things. And I mean, you are building such an important infrastructure for the market, and we all need this. Without trustable data, you can't automate, you can't build applications. So thanks for doing that.
No, thank you. I mean, EtherRisk was an amazing project. And I don't know if you heard of this project, Wingman.wtf?
No, I didn't.
It was basically exactly the same as flight delay risk, right?
Okay.
So you could insure or gamble against flight. Will it be delayed or not? You saw the probabilities of it being delayed or the history of what it's being delayed. And so that was a really interesting project. But with EtherRisk, what we started finding out was they were insuring farmers. And you were insuring farmers, and the farmers were dependent on weather. And so you need crop insurance, right? And you needed weather data. And there was a company out of Puerto Rico, I can't remember, the team was out of Puerto Rico at least, that were providing all of this weather data, and it was verified weather data. And we worked with a Swiss company and this Puerto Rican company to be able to compose the weather data. And so that we could then provide reliable weather data. But for us, it was more important on predicting inflation. So because our customers wanted to know, where's inflation going? And so we needed it for the prediction side. And it was interesting to see that, to your point, you need reliable data on the chain in order to be able to do those compute. And at the time, maybe really early on, it wasn't available. But today, more and more of these data sets are coming on-chain. So as the economy evolves on-chain, you're seeing more evolution on capabilities of building other products outside the finance. But somehow, we always come back to financialization of these products, right?
Look, of course, when you look, for example, in the commodities business, first you need the data. At the end, you're going to trade it. And the real business behind moving the ships around, moving the assets around, is a different animal. And this might be still a paper-based process, but the trading is digital. And we need to get it through to the end. And this is a long way to get there, but we will get there.
And I think we will see a lot more efficiency and transparency associated with everything moving on the blockchain. And I think that's the unique element. And when Doge, and Elon talks about more efficiency and moving things on the blockchain, we will automatically have total transparency on where things are going, how it's moving, and then ultimately have efficiencies because it can be much more on a peer-to-peer basis. So I can eliminate 7 toll takers along the way and reduce that down to maybe 2 or 3. So I think that's really an exciting time that we have in front of us.
Look, as you're in Switzerland, we have here a lot of transparency on data. You know what your Gemeinde, so your village, is spending on what. You know what the canton is spending, what the government is spending. You know where your tax money is going. Not in all the transparency, but already very good level. Of course, there are certain areas where you don't want the full transparency. I mean,
you can't as well, sometimes out of secrecy purposes.
We see the other problem. We see the problem of very rich people in the blockchain space getting robbed, or like the former Ledger founder, you might have seen that. And it's also dangerous. Too much transparency is also dangerous. So we need to find the right way, and data privacy is a very important thing on the other side.
But also for tactical purposes, right? I mean, so in some ways, when you're negotiating and everything's transparent, there's very little room to negotiate. Security is more of an issue as well. I mean, I just noticed the other day, someone was telling me that there's an app called Strava, which a lot of athletes use. When you go running, you start your watch, you start generally from your home when you're going your run, and then you come back, or your bike, or whatever. And you actually have to set up a privacy speed, so it actually doesn't take your home, it just takes an area around where your home is. So small things like that you don't think about until you've actually launched the product and test it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a lot of interesting roads in front of us. AI is obviously going to have a significant impact on crypto and the blockchain, and those converge a lot as well. So yeah, thank you very much, Ralf. Super exciting to learn about new spheres and how you're transcending Europe and Switzerland with the Middle East and bridging those two environments and still supporting startups and still super excited about this space, right?
I think we're very blessed to live at these times and to be here in Switzerland where a lot of the stuff is happening. Yeah. And I just told today the story, I think 2017, David Sachs came to Zug for lunch. Yeah. And I had no clue who this guy was. And then I was Googling something like a PayPal mafia guy, and today he's the crypto czar. Yeah. So amazing stories to tell to our grandchildren later on.
Yeah, no, I just find it amazing that we've come from a way to now everybody in crypto, you're sort of 1 to 2 degrees away from literally the president of the US, which is today still the most powerful individual on the planet.
I thought this is Elon Musk.
Yeah, maybe he's the puppet master. No, I don't think so. But but interesting how it's evolved into a tripolar world. And I think everybody's beginning to realize that it's now, unfortunately, it's China, it's the US, and it's Russia in the middle, right? And so there's going to be this different type, multipolar world that is actually going to drive forward the economy, which makes it exciting as well, because there's more opportunity as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you very much, Ralf. It's great to see you. Ralf Glabischnig, where can people follow you? Do you have a Twitter? Should they go to their website, your newsletter?
Twitter and LinkedIn.
Twitter and LinkedIn.
I'm probably more active on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah?
More boring in the old B2B world than in the Twitter, crypto Twitter.
Yeah, crypto Twitter. So yeah, there you go. Ralf Glabischnig on LinkedIn. Follow him there. Thank you very much, everybody.